What's up, YouTube friends? It's your girl Malika from beingmymalika.com, and I am back with another video. And in today's video, we are going to talk about something that seems to be a little taboo out here in the budget community, and that is, what do we do with this tax refund? You guys have seen my paycheck budgets. I use my real numbers. As I said before, I do have 3 children. I'm a single parent, and even though I do make a decent salary, because I have 3 children and I'm raising them by myself, I do still receive a tax refund. Now, this year's tax refund is significantly less than it has been in years past, and that's because, one, my income has gone up, and also I just have been able to adjust my withholding, so I bring home a little bit more money in my check. I do not want to decrease it anymore, because at this point now I'm kind of scared to go any lower than what it is, because I've decreased it quite a bit. And then also just a lot of things changed this year. This will be my last year claiming 3 children on my income tax. My son has moved in with his father, and so there are only 2 kids at home now. I've got one that's getting ready to go off to college. So things change from year to year. This year, again, it's just kind of a bigger change. My daughter is 17 now, so that changes the way she is counted on my income tax as well. So all that being said, I have actually gone through my taxes and actually finished them. I just have not hit the button to e-file them, because as you guys saw in the previous video, that is on my next paycheck budget. Because I do have to pay for the software to file my taxes, because of the fact that they're not as simple as they used to be. It's not just W-2 income and kind of straight stuff. I do own my home. I bought a car last year. The year before last. So, and then this past year, I also started doing contract work as a social worker. And so that changed up how I had to file things for my taxes, because with that, I'm a 1099, meaning that they send me a statement of my earnings at the end of the year, but they are not required to pull taxes from the checks that they send me. They do just go ahead and send me the full amount. It's my responsibility to pay taxes on that amount. And so that has completely switched up my tax situation. All of that to say, yes, I am getting a tax refund, and we're going to make sure that that tax refund has a place to go. I want to make sure that what I do with that tax refund is meaningful to myself and my family, and that we are using that to make sure that we are staying on top of the things that we said we wanted to do. That being said, the first thing that I'm going to do to decide what we're going to do with this tax refund is check in with my goals. I know what my priorities are for my family. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. And so we have written those goals down for this year, and I want to make sure that what I am spending my money on is in alignment with those goals. So I got some inspiration from At Home with Keita, and for this year, I did this beautiful pull-out goals sheet. And so it just is a visual reminder of the things that I want to do with and for my family and for myself for the year 2020. So it's just this 2020 goals, and it has my word for the year, which is freedom, because the borrower is slave to the lender. And y'all, I feel like Great Lakes is on my neck. And so I am really, 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 really trying to be free from a lot of things, free from debt, free from assumptions, free from just a lot of things I put on myself. So freedom is my word for 2020. And I love, love, love this paper from the Happy Planner. This is just some dot grid paper, but it is the Stargazer filler paper, and the Stargazer sticker kit I used a lot too. And just down here in this corner, it actually says, stay in your magic, babe. And that's kind of my reminder to myself all year. Like, you can do this. You're powerful. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. You can accomplish all of the things that you set out to do. So let's check in with our goals and see which of our goals this tax refund is going to help us to fulfill. Now, this pullout actually has goals for all kinds of sections of my life. So I have spiritual goals. I have family goals, personal goals, work goals. I also have health and wellness goals, financial goals, and goals for my home. So I have all of these, and I want to just kind of, like I said, check in and see what this tax refund can help me accomplish. Obviously, the most obvious one to start with would be our financial goals. And I'll just share those with you guys because transparency. And so some of my financial goals is to make sure I want to try to pay off that lowest student loan this year that is now my debt snowball item. I want to cash flow my daughter's tuition, books, and expenses. She does start school in the fall. I want to maintain my emergency fund and not dip into it. I don't want to charge anything else on my credit cards. As you guys saw in a previous video, and if you haven't seen it, I'll link it up here. I did cut up all of my credit cards with the exception of one that I saved for travel. So I don't want to charge anything on those other credit cards because we know how they get us the department store cards. Oh, we can look that up for you, or it's automatically connected to your online account when you're shopping. So I still want to make sure that I'm not charging anything extra to those cards. I want to make sure that I'm paying cash for all of my travel. I want to fully fund all my sinking funds and not have to dip into my savings if something happens. I want to make an extra $6,000 this year from my contract work and other venues, other side hustles that I have going on, including YouTube and the blog. And if I'm able to do that, then I want to be able to save at least an additional $2,000 into my savings account. So those are my financial goals that I have for this year. And these are obviously things that can be helped with that tax refund. But I also do have some goals for my family, and I want to use this to also hit those goals that I have for my family. And one of those goals is to spend some really good, solid quality time with my family. I keep mentioning it over and over and over again that my daughter is going off to college this year. And I just really want to spend as much good family time as I can with her, because this is the last time that I have to pour into her and to make sure that when she goes off to school that I'm still the loudest voice that she hears in her head. I want to build her up. I want to make sure that she's prepared, that she's ready, that she has some experiences that she can draw upon for when situations come up for her in college. So some of my family goals were to, one, visit my family out of town a couple of times a year to make sure that we're doing something together, formally together. Like I say, hey, we're going to sit down and watch this movie or play this game, even if we're at home, or okay, this week we're going to the zoo, or next week we're going to try to go see a movie. I want to make sure that we are intentional about the time that we're spending together. Some of the other goals that I have are kind of things that I want to teach them in the way I want to parent. And also, both of my kids kind of have some special needs is what I'll call them. One of my sons suffers from ADHD that's pretty severe, and my daughter suffers from anxiety. And I do want to make sure that I am meeting those needs the best way that I can, which includes for the both of them making sure that I am on top of their meds and making sure that they're getting them on time every time. And also, I do want to try to get us into individual therapy for the two of them, and also family therapy for us as a family, just so that we can make sure that we are meeting each other's needs properly. So I want to see how that tax refund can help me meet those goals. So not just thinking about financial things, but also things in your other areas of your life. Another set of goals I have is work. I am a licensed master social worker, but I would like to obtain my clinical licensure. So I want to make sure that I'm doing things to move myself forward in my career. Because of the job that I work, I don't actually get to practice social work in my full-time job. I have to make sure that I am individually working on my own professional development. And so some of the things that I want to do is make sure that I'm attending conferences, that I find myself a clinical supervisor. And also work includes, YouTube. I need equipment. I need a new computer, things like that. And so I want to make sure that I'm using this tax refund to feed into the goals that I have for both myself and for my family. So I just wanted to give you guys kind of a quick overview of the why behind budgeting this tax refund. that being said, let's go ahead and get into what you guys all came to see, which is the numbers. So I'm just going to flip on back to our financial section here. And we're just going to stick this in here somewhere. And so, let's see. And you know what? Let me see if I can find a pencil. Hold on. All right, so we're going to call this our rough draft because I'm going to be honest. I'm going to write this in here, and then I'm going to probably redo it again and make it pretty because, as you guys can see, I am a big fan of pretty sheets in my planner. So let's start off with telling ourselves what this is. This is our 2019 income tax refund. And I'm so sorry about this shadow on the paper. Okay, so we do know about what the amount of that is going to be. And so that is going to be about $3,679. Okay, so again, I was just talking about priorities and things that are a priority for me and my family in the year 2020 and how I can use this to pay it forward. So one of the priorities, obviously, that I have for my family is getting out of debt. One small debt that I didn't think about prior to watching another video, and I'll try to link that video down below. I think it's the Clads, but I'll try to link it down below. But like, we're talking about how much money they spend every month on cell phones, and that encouraged me to look at my phone bill and see how much of that money is actually tied to paying off the actual phones, and it's a good chunk of it. And so I decided that one of the things that is a priority for me is to pay off our cell phones. I actually, like I said, have 3 kids. 2 of them also have cell phones, plus mine. So that's 3 cell phones that I'm paying for, 2 iPhones and an Android. And that is a huge, what am I doing? That's a huge chunk of our bill. So I want to pay off our cell phones. And I went back and looked that up, and that is going to cost me $982.68 to pay off all 3 cell phones. But once I do that, that will drop my monthly bill by about $75, $75 to $100. And so that's a huge chunk off of our monthly expenses that I can now move towards debt because I'm not paying that. The other thing is, once those phones are paid off, I'm no longer obliged to Verizon. I can go back to Cricket, and we can have all 3 of our phones for $60. So that's the plan, by the way. So I'm going to try to pay these cell phones off so we can move to a cheaper cell phone plan. So that is P1. Priority number 2, again, I talked about wanting to make sure I'm spending good quality time with my kids, and something that I want to do for all of them, or for all of us, is to get us passports. That seems to be the reigning joke around the internets right now, is instead of spending your tax refund on spend that money to get yourself a passport. And there seems to be some animosity towards people who have to use their tax refund to get a passport. A lot of people say if you need your tax refund to have to buy a passport, then you shouldn't be traveling. Well, I have to buy 4 passports, and no, I cannot cash flow 4 passports off of any one paycheck. So that's a thing. So I do want to make sure I get all 4 of our passports, and to get all 4 passports with the book and the card, because I want to make sure we have both of them, especially for my son who lives with his dad. We want to have one for each of us to have, if that makes sense, just in case something comes up. And it also gives them a form of identification that they'll always have. So 4 passports is $520. Okay. These 2 things are my top 2 priorities for what I want to do with my income tax refund. Now, there are some other things that I'm a little trying to decide what I want to do. One of those things is travel. I actually did already book a cruise for this Christmas, and I know you guys are thinking, oh, but you're still in debt. Dave Ramsey says broke people don't get to travel. Like I said, my baby is graduating this year, and I am holding on for dear life. And so this vacation is really important to me, and I actually want to try to get in as many trips this year as I can while we're still vacationing as a family. I also, like I said, have one son who lives away from me right now, and so getting to travel with him, with his siblings, is also very, very important to me. I want to make sure that I'm maintaining the bond that my kids have with each other, and so I want to be sure to foster that by being able to have them experience new things altogether. So travel is very important for me. Also, I would say my last one is there are just some household items that you need, but you keep saying, oh, when I get some money I'll do this, when I get some money I'll do that, when I get some money I'll do this, that I just been pushing off and pushing off and pushing off. Just things, really random things that we need to buy, things that have broken that I need to replace, etc., that I want to go ahead and purchase or replace. So those are my 4 priorities for my tax refund. Now, this travel, I do still have a balance on the cruise that I booked. So there is cruise number 1. And then I also want to book one for my daughter's graduation to go on after she graduates. So we're going to call that one cruise number 2. I do have quite a bit of time still to pay off cruise number 1. Obviously, it's February. I don't have to pay that one off until October, so I still have time to make up the funds for cruise number 1. My daughter actually graduates in May, though, so if I'm going to book that trip, it has to be paid off essentially by the end of the month. So there's that. Next, what I'm going to do is just kind of go through and see what we have as we move down our priorities. So obviously P1 is paying off those cell phones so that I have the extra money to add to my debt snowball. So we have the $36.79, and we're just going to round that up minus the $9.83. And so that leaves us $24.96 to go to our next goal, which is our passports. That's again $520, and that's not counting having to get pictures made for all 4 of us, but that I should be able to pull out of my regular budget. Oh, that didn't end well. So 6, 7, that's 5 is 19. So I have $19.76 left to put towards these other 2 goals. So here's the thing. Cruise number 1 has a balance of $3,066. But really my only goal for cruise number 1 is to be able to pay that one, have a reasonable monthly payment to be able to pay that one down by October when it's supposed to be paid off. Cruise number 2 is going to cost me about, let's say $2,000, about $2,000. And then household items, let's say there's about $150. Now I'm gonna get myself about $200 worth of stuff that I just need to get, things that are cheaper on Amazon that I just haven't ordered yet for the house. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in here. So the $19.76 minus the $200 for Amazon leaves us $1,776 for travel. So those three are all taken care of. Now, the question is, how do I split this up to be able to make sure both of these trips happen? Basically, I need to pay more on number 2 if I decide to do that. Because there's just a possibility that I just forego this trip altogether and, you know, just pay all of this to this one. And if I do that, if I pay, my balance is $3,066 and I pay this $1,776 all to that cruise, that'll leave me a balance of $1,290. And I still have, let's see, this is February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 8 months. Oh shoot, what did I do? Y'all know it's been a long time since I had to use one of these calculators. That leaves me 8 months to pay off this cruise. So that would leave me with only having to put away $160 a month towards, or paying about $162 a month every month on this cruise, which is doable for my family. Really, if I really try to push it hard on the contract job, that's literally 3 visits. So I can do it. I can easily do that. But the other thing is I could not pay anything on that one. So that's $3,066 divided by those 8 months. And that's $384 a month that I'll need to pay towards that trip. And I could use all of it to pay off this cruise and only have to pull a little bit from my regular money. And then be pulling everything for this cruise from my regular monthly budget. But $383 a month is a bit of a stretch. So I would like to put more, at least something on this. If I split it and do, let's say, $1,000. And that gives me $250 a month, which is again more doable than $380 that I'm paying on this cruise. And then this one, well, see, really, it's not really, I don't have time to pay off this one. If I'm gonna go on this cruise, I have to essentially pay it off entirely with this tax refund. So I'm leaning towards not doing this one at all and taking a cheaper trip somewhere, but I don't know where else we can take a cheaper trip than getting on the cruise. For those of you who don't know, I'm in South Texas, and the cruise port in Galveston is about 10 minutes from my house. So there's no airfare, there's no hotel costs or any of that on top of the cost of the cruise. The cost of the cruise is literally it for me. Versus going somewhere else and having to figure out 4 flights for us anywhere is already $2,000. So I don't know where I can come up with a cheaper vacation option. So basically my 2 choices are pay the second cruise off with the income tax and and then pay this one off monthly at $385 a month. So that's $385 a month for cruise number 1, and cruise 2 paid in full. Or I can do $1,000 plus $250 a month, and then have, let's see, $776 on this cruise, and then have to figure out the other $1,300 out of my monthly budget, which is a negative. Because again, this one would have to be paid off by like March 1st. Or I can pay all of this towards this cruise. So if I do 3,066 minus the 1776 and divide that by 8, I can pay the whole tax refund and then only have $160 a month to pay on cruise number 1. And then this one, we don't go on at all. And I'm gonna be honest, if I'm honest with myself and I'm faithful and intense about my goals, this trip does not need to happen. It doesn't. But again, I really want to do something to celebrate my daughter's graduation from high school and how well she's done. She's been accepted into the top HBCU in the country. She's been accepted to the top public HBCU in the country. She's been accepted to one of the best engineering schools in the country. So she's really done her work, and I want to figure out a way to celebrate her. So leave me some comments and let me know what you would do to try to celebrate your kid's graduation, but still be faithful to the goals that you've set for yourself financially. Because again, I could do this, but it's going to be stretching. We're going to have to pull from this and pull from that and not really make things happen. So do you try to do this graduation trip and do something with her before you leave? Do I pick a different trip? Do I maybe give me some ideas? And then just try to make this Christmas trip really extra special. What would you do if you were in my position? So for now, our tax refund is budgeted to go towards paying off these cell phones, passports for the kids, a couple $100 to buy items around the house that we have been pushing off but we really need, and travel. How much of that goes to which travel? You guys let me know. I'm going to read the comments and take your advice and can really kind of figure out what do we do with this. Thank you guys so much for watching, for sitting through my whole thought process. Let me know in the comments what your opinions are. If you like videos like this, leave it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.